What if I told you there's a farming method so powerful? It could turn a handful of potatoes into mountains of harvest. A technique so simple, yet so effective, that it demanded almost no effort and still produced yields that stunned entire villages. This wasn't modern science. This was a lost method, whispered about in old farming communities, passed down quietly from generation to generation, until history buried it beneath the rise of industrial agriculture. Imagine a crop that multiplies itself endlessly, a method that transforms scarcity into abundance, and a secret that once saved families from famine. It's not a myth, it's real. And it's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to rediscover it. Welcome to Forgotten Leaf Secrets, where we uncover the lost techniques nature perfected and reveal the wisdom history tried to erase. Potatoes were never just food. They were survival, carved from the earth. In times of famine, when wheat shriveled and rice fields dried, potatoes stood firm. They grew in poor soil, resisted harsh climates, and fed entire families when every other crop betrayed them. But here's the hidden truth. Farmers once had a method, a secret technique that made potatoes multiply beyond imagination. A method so simple, yet so powerful, that it turned small plots into overflowing harvests. It demanded almost no effort, no expensive tools, no modern fertilizers, just knowledge passed quietly from one generation to the next. Villagers whispered about it as the miracle of the soil. It was the difference between hunger and abundance, between survival and prosperity. And yet, as industrial farming rose, this method was buried, dismissed as old-fashioned, ignored by modern science, and slowly erased from memory. But here's the twist. The method never truly vanished. It still exists, hidden in forgotten manuals, buried in rural traditions, waiting for us to rediscover it. A lost secret that could change how we grow food and prove that nature's wisdom was always ahead of us. Potatoes were never just another crop. They were survival disguised as simplicity, packed with carbohydrates that fueled endless labor, potassium that strengthened weary hearts, and vitamin C that protected against scurvy. This humble tuber carried more power than rulers ever admitted. For peasants, potatoes were the difference between hunger and hope. A single harvest could feed entire families for months. Boiled, roasted, mashed, or baked, every form carried energy that kept farmers working from dawn till dusk. Even in famine years, when bread vanished and grains spoiled, potatoes endured. But here's the hidden truth. Nutrition was only half the story. The real secret lay in how they multiplied. Farmers discovered that with the right method, potatoes didn't just grow, they exploded into abundance. A handful of seed tubers could transform into baskets overflowing with food, enough to carry villages through the harshest winters. This wasn't luck, it was knowledge. A lost method, buried by time, that made potatoes not just a crop, but a miracle of survival. So what was this mysterious method? The one that produced massive yields effortlessly. It was the layered mound technique, a forgotten way of growing potatoes that multiplied harvests beyond imagination. Instead of planting potatoes in shallow soil, farmers built tall mounds, layering compost, straw, and soil as the plants grew upward. Each time the stem reached higher, they covered it again, forcing the plant to produce new tubers along every buried section. The result? Not just one cluster of potatoes at the base, but multiple layers of harvest stacked inside the mound. This method demanded almost no effort. No expensive fertilizer, no modern machinery. Just patience, layering, and nature's own design. A single seed potato could yield baskets overflowing with food, enough to feed families through harsh winters. Villagers once called it the endless basket. It was passed down quietly, used in times of famine, and praised as the miracle of the soil. But as industrial farming rose, the method was dismissed as old-fashioned, buried beneath the push for monoculture and chemical fertilizers. And yet, the truth is undeniable. This lost technique worked. It still works today. Hidden in rural traditions, waiting for us to rediscover. The potato method that never fails. The potato wasn't just a miracle of abundance. It was a fortress of nutrition. Hidden beneath its rough skin was the power to fuel armies, sustain villages, and protect families through famine. Packed with carbohydrates, it delivered instant energy to farmers who labored from sunrise to sunset. Its potassium strengthened weary hearts. Its iron fortified blood, and its vitamin C shielded against scurvy, a disease that once haunted entire populations. Even proteins, though modest, combined with its fibers to keep hunger at bay longer than bread or rice ever could. This is why potatoes became the silent hero of survival. Unlike fragile crops that demanded fertile soil, potatoes thrived in neglect. Unlike grains that spoiled quickly, potatoes stored for months, waiting patiently in cellars to be called upon in times of need. And unlike glamorous foods reserved for nobles, potatoes belong to everyone, the poor, the hungry, the forgotten. But here's the twist. When combined with the lost method, their nutritional power multiplied. Not only did families harvest more, they harvested better. More tubers meant more meals, more strength, more resilience. It was nature's insurance policy, a crop that never failed, and a method that turned survival into abundance. If this method was so powerful, why did history erase it? The answer lies in the rise of industrial farming. As machines replaced hands and chemical fertilizers promised quick profits, traditional wisdom was dismissed as primitive. The layered mound technique, simple, natural, and effortless, was buried beneath the noise of modern agriculture. Rulers and landlords favored monocultures, endless fields of wheat, corn, and rice. Potatoes, once the lifeline of peasants, were branded as poor man's food. The miracle method that multiplied yields was ignored, because it didn't fit the narrative of progress. Generations forgot. Manuals were lost, traditions faded, and the knowledge that once saved villages from famine was silenced. What remained were whispers, stories of overflowing baskets of families who survived winters without hunger, of a crop that never failed. But here's the irony. While history buried the method, the soil never forgot. The technique still works today, waiting to be rediscovered. A reminder that sometimes the simplest wisdom is the most powerful, and that nature's secrets cannot be erased forever. Centuries may have passed, but the soil never forgot. Today, curious gardeners and small farmers are rediscovering the lost potato method, and the results are astonishing. With nothing more than a handful of seed potatoes, a mound of soil, and layers of compost or straw, they are witnessing harvests that rival industrial farms. No chemicals, no machines, no endless labor, just nature's design, working exactly as it did for generations before us. Videos and reports from modern growers show baskets overflowing, stems rising higher than expected, and yields multiplying with every layer added. It's proof that the wisdom of the past was never outdated, it was simply ignored. And here's the most powerful part. This method isn't locked away in history. Anyone can try it. From backyard gardeners to rural farmers, the lost technique still works today, producing massive yields effortlessly, just as it did centuries ago. It's a reminder that sometimes the answers to our future lie buried in the forgotten secrets of the past. Think about what this lost method truly means. Not just for farmers of the past, but for us today. We live in a world where food insecurity is rising, where climate change threatens harvests, and where millions still go hungry each year. And yet, buried in history lies a technique so simple, so natural, that it could help us grow more with less. The layered mound method isn't just about potatoes. It's about resilience. It's about rediscovering the wisdom of our ancestors, wisdom that industrial farming ignored, but that nature preserved. Imagine communities reviving this technique, producing massive yields without chemicals, without machines, without endless costs. Imagine families turning small plots into overflowing baskets, schools teaching children how to grow food effortlessly, and villages reclaiming the secrets that once saved their ancestors. This isn't nostalgia, it's survival. It's proof that sometimes the answers to our future lie not in laboratories or factories, but in the forgotten methods of the soil. The lost potato method is more than farming. It's hope. It's abundance. It's the reminder that nature always had the solution. We just stopped listening. So how does this lost method actually work? And how can you try it yourself? It begins with something simple: a handful of seed potatoes. Plant them in a small mound of soil. As the stems rise, cover them again with fresh soil, straw, or compost, building the mound higher each time. Every layer you add forces the plant to produce new tubers along the buried stem. Instead of one cluster at the base, you create multiple harvest layers stacked inside the mound. No chemicals, no machines, no endless labor. Just patience, layering, and nature's design. Within weeks, the mound grows taller, and beneath it, baskets of potatoes begin to form. When harvest season arrives, you don't just dig up a few roots. You uncover a tower of abundance. This is the miracle of the lost potato method. Effortless, natural, overflowing. Technique anyone can try, whether in a backyard garden, a small farm, or even a forgotten corner of soil. It's proof that history's secrets still belong to us, waiting to be revived, one mound at a time. The story of the lost potato method is more than farming. It's a reminder that nature's wisdom is timeless, that abundance can be effortless, and that sometimes the greatest secrets are buried in the soil beneath our feet. We've uncovered how a simple mound could multiply harvests, how forgotten traditions could feed families, and how resilience was always within reach. This isn't just history, it's a living secret, waiting for us to revive it today. So the next time you see a potato, remember, it's not just food, it's survival. It's abundance. It's the miracle crop that never fails. If you've enjoyed uncovering this forgotten wisdom, don't let it stay hidden. Like and subscribe to join us on this journey through nature's lost vaults. Because every leaf, every root, every secret we reveal brings us closer to the knowledge history tried to erase.